Hello everybody, and welcome back to our Farming Simulator 25 map guide. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Wampsville, New York. 3 maps in one download. But before that, this video is brought to you by Alex and Claire Barton. Thank you for being farm barons. So as I mentioned, the Wampsville, New York map is going to be a 3-in-1 map. In fact, that it has 3 different versions of a single map in one download. It's going to be pretty good bang for your buck. You're going to be able to find this map over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. But let's go ahead and kind of take a little look at the description, because this is a pretty long description. It says, Campsville is calling. Will you rise to the challenge? The land is waiting. The opportunity is yours. Do you have what it takes to conquer Wampsville and build your legacy in agriculture? You find yourself in New York, standing at the crossroads of 3 vastly different paths, each one a unique test of your skills, strategy, and ambition. Will you thrive in the modern farming world, battle against untamed nature, or shape the land from the ground up? Wampsville, New York, Forestry Edition. And we're going to take a look at that actually last in this video. I will have timestamps to all the different map types in the description. Instead of doing 3 different map videos, I decided to do one big video. You can jump around to any different segment you want via the timestamps, again, in the description. Travel back in time. Before modern agriculture took over, towering forests and untouched wilderness stand between you and your dreams. Will you carve out a homestead, create sprawling farmlands, or dominate the logging industry? The wild is yours to tame. Note, this map has increased chances of severe weather events like tornadoes and storms. Be prepared. Then we have the DIY Edition. We're going to take a look at that second in this video. The loggers have left, and now the land is yours to shape from scratch. No forest to clear, no fields require to be maintained, just pure creative freedom. Design roads, neighborhoods, farmlands exactly how you see fit. You will build the ultimate farming empire, plant some forests, or make a city just to maintain yards and roleplay. And then we have the Homestead Edition. That's the version that we're going to start this video in. The fields are prepared. The land is ready. This is farming at its finest with a realistic rural layout and plenty of room for expansion. The only question is, can you turn this land into an agricultural powerhouse? Your choice is yours. One thing is certain, only the strongest will survive Wampsville. Which path will you take? Now, this map features a precision farming soil map. It is a custom soil map. This map is roleplay friendly. Mining and forestry opportunities included. Custom tall grass, as well as tall mixed meadow grass for more of an American style vibe, as it says. 3 unique map types to choose from. We've already talked about custom NPCs with voices. So let's come back to that real quick. I have to say, I'm a little disappointed at the number of reviews as of the time of this recording and the rating that this map has. And I really think the people that maybe have rated this map low don't really understand or grasp the innovations that this map has brought to the game, and quite frankly, that I see other modders grabbing this map, figuring out how he did it, and doing it in their own maps. So I think we might see some of these features pop up in other maps pretty soon. Oh, by the way, this map, even though it's 3 maps in one, we're looking at a total download size of 568 megabytes, and that is it. All right, back up here to what I was talking about. We have custom talking NPCs. Okay, so that's pretty darn cool. The ability to remove most of the NPCs around. So if you don't want to have the NPCs on your map, you just click a little trigger, boom, they're gone. That's pretty cool, because lots of people don't like the NPCs. They want to make them go away. So I think that's a nice feature that we might see implemented in other maps. The ability to remove almost all NPCs, that's what I just talked about. Custom production chains and factories, unique placeables, and buildings, including custom houses for NPCs without spawning points. Custom sell points with NPCs that'll explain how to use them. So we've seen this a little bit in a couple maps. The store does not contain NPC houses, so you may, well, the store does contain NPC houses, so you can place them wherever you see fit. We also have purchasable vehicles in the shop, custom multi-story collectible building. So this map has custom collectibles, and just like our forestry map in Silver Run Forest, when you collect those collectibles, they go into a custom museum. The Forestry Edition features 55 farmlands, 1 field, 25 collectibles, 2 quarries, 1 pile of relocated stone for your starting land, and opening storyline from Kenneth, multiple factories, purchase some and buy land and sit on to sell them off, keep land. These lands are unsellable once obtained. The DIY Edition, ultimate farmland layout with 98 viable farmlands, 1 field, 25 collectibles to find, 2 quarries. Kenneth rants about big machinery, multiple factories, and such. Homestead Edition, unique farmland layout, 74 fields, 33 fields, 74 viable lands, 33 fields, 25 collectibles. Kenneth explains how the layout of the land came to be, multiple factories, and then we have multiple new crops also on this map. Alfalfa, clove, rye, triticale, millet, spelt, mustard, buckwheat, poppy, lentils, and flax. There is a custom animal dealer that is on this map. Custom American tall grass, thanks to Star Spangled Mods. Custom NPCs, conversations, movable NPCs, and Lizard Inc. custom iron, stone, and sand productions, etc. All from DTAP Gaming. And the DIY Edition is a collaboration between both mappers and modders. And thank you to all the beta testers. So I have to say, this map took me a really, really long time to prep for it. I'm talking multiple hours. But then I thought about it. You know what? It's because, well, this is 3 maps in one. So when you have 3 maps in one, if it's going to take you 3 times longer to prep for it, that's kind of be expected. So again, we are taking a look at the Homestead Edition in the first part of this video. Then we'll transition over to the DIY Edition and then to the Forestry Edition. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA of the Homestead Edition. Here we can see we have a traditional style map. We have a combination of forestry and agriculture. We also have several productions, and we have 1 main starting farm. So our starting farm is going to be found at Farmland ID 14. And in addition to that, we also own Farmland ID 15, 16. We have Farmland ID 22, 23, 24, 25, and Farmland ID 58. Now, something you may have just saw when I clicked on it, we have a selection where we can click on the streets. And if we select the streets, well, we can buy the streets, which would then give us the ability to modify the streets as well. Now, this map has some interesting things going on. We have buyable NPC farm areas, and when we buy these NPCs, we will see that we do have the ability to often build structures for these NPCs. And I'll point out where those structures are, and I'll point out what it takes to build those here in a little bit. In addition, we have mines. For example, Farmland ID 10 is for stone, and Farmland ID 63 is going to be for iron, as well as 65 and 61. As far as farms available or crops available on this map, we have all our standard crops, as well as I mentioned earlier, North American tall grass, alfalfa, clover, rye, triticale, millet, spelt, mustard, lavender, poppy, buckwheat, lentils, and flax. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how the custom soil map is being applied to these fields. As far as I know, it's the same soil map across all 3 map types, and this is the only opportunity we're going to get to see the vast majority of the soil map exposed, because again, the other 2 versions really don't have starting fields. You see a big chunk of loam here to the north, big splot of loamy sand here in the middle, right around Farmland ID 38, and then perimetering that, we have a big circle area of sandy loam. We are looking at the standard FS25 crop counter on this map, and in fact, on all 3 iterations of this map. We do, of course, also have the modifications with respect to the additional crops. As far as starting farms, well, we do start out with several cows on the Homestead Edition. We have a single cow barn on that edition of the map. And with respect to contracts, we do have contracts available. And as you can see, we also have custom farmers for those contracts. We have 9 productions on the Homestead Edition of this map. We have the enclosed bunker silo that we have at the start, and we have the ability of making alfalfa silage. So if we take alfalfa, we can make regular silage from it, or we can bring alfalfa in and make alfalfa silage. We can also bring chaff and make regular silage. We can bring clover and make clover silage, or we can bring clover into regular silage, and of course we have grass into regular silage. As far as other productions on the map, we have a bakery that's going to be able to make bread out of flax, wheat, and flour, basically lentils, mustard bread. I'm not sure about that. Poppy and rice flour. We also can make cakes out of lavender, rice flour, and then we have strawberry cake. We have our cereal, and we can make custom cereals from buckwheat. We also have millet cereal and rye, spelt, and triticale cereal. We have the ability to make glass panes. That's going to require sand and wood chips. We also have a grain mill for traditional flour, buckwheat flour, millet flour, oat flour, and then we have rye flour, sorghum, spelt, triticale flour as well. We have the ability to make various amounts of oil, buckwheat oil, canola oil, lavender essential oil, millet oil, mustard, poppy seed, and then we have vegetable oil and wood treatment oil. That's going to be rye, and in order to make wood treatment oil and vegetable oil, is going to come from soybeans. With respect to our preserved food factory, we have all of our standard things here in preserved foods. Then our sawmill, we have planks, long planks, prefab walls, wooden beams, and wood chips. Then we have a stone crusher where we're going to bring sand and we're going to bring stones and we're going to get sand. But that's not all the productions, because we do have a large assortment of productions also available in the build menu. More on that in a little bit. With respect to our sell points, I really only counted up 3 sell points here on the Homestead Edition. I really don't count the enclosed bunker silo because it is a production. Now, with respect to your starting fleet, if you select to own the starting farm, then of course you will see the farm and the vehicles built out exactly how you see them here. Should you choose to not own the starting farm, then you also will not have any starting machinery on the Homestead Edition. We do have listed here some chainsaws, and those are in the brick shed. So we have these stored on the Homestead Edition. And while this says 34 collectibles, the description says there are 25 collectibles on the map, and they're rather interesting collectibles. I'll try to show you 1 or 2 during the video. Now here on the main starting farm, we do have our farmhouse, we have our sleep trigger, and we have our wardrobe trigger. Oh, and by the way, one of your custom collectibles, it's going to be right here. And it's an interesting little story down here. Each collectible has a meaning. So we collected a security camera. Down here it says, hey, you found the security camera. This item represents the world's way of keeping a watchful eye, just in case the cows decide to throw a surprise party. It's kind of fun. And then, what the heck? Let's just show you where another one is. See this barbecue grill? It's a collectible. And here it says, this item represents spending time with your family while you still can. So isn't that cool? So we have our house. And then we're going to find our barn here. And the barn does have functioning doors. We'll take a look at our starting machinery here in a bit. We have our cow barn. We start out with some cows, and then we're going to be able to purchase additional cows. We have our slurry point. And let's see here. Which one is this?
You know, this land didn't always look like this. It used to be wild, untamed, just trees, rocks, and dreams. but we saw something more in it. Chuck swore up and down the ground was humming before we even broke dirt. Said the underground rock lizards weren't happy about it. I say he spent too much time breathing in quarry dust. Burko, that guy was
Well,
so
I'll let you
Brig,
download this map and listen to these guys
you
a bit
need
more.
something?
This map video is going to be long enough as it is. Got our old pickup truck here. And this is a pretty cool addition. We've got kind of a screen that changes. We're going to find more of that inside of this barn. And over here we have 2 dealer triggers. One here. One here. And then we have our chainsaw rack. So we can come here and store additional chainsaws. And we can collect chainsaws out of here and put them back. We also have storage for marking spray paint. And we have storage here for our horse brushes. We've got a giant water tower for our water trigger here at the main farm. We have a fuel point. And then we have another little barn with some of our smaller machinery. We do have bale and pallet storage here. 250 bales and pallets. We have a farmer's market sell point kind of just up here adjacent to or on the starting farmland. Another machine shed here. Lots of interesting things hanging. And then here is the enclosed silage bunker. So we have our output pipe. And we have our dump point. Right here we have our interactive icon. And then we've got a couple storage sheds as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at our starting machinery. The heck is this guy? Oh, another collectible. You discovered a scarecrow. This symbolizes not needing to wander through particular paths in search of wit. How witty. As far as our starting machinery goes, here on the Homestead version of the map, we have the medium tractors in the Challenger MT665 and the ATCO 8810. As far as small tractors go, we have the John Deere 3650. We have our International Series 200 pickup truck, and we have the John Deere 8R 410 large tractor. We have the Flegel ASW 271 trailer, as well as the FarmTech EDK 650 trailer. We have a Dowbell Power Chain 800 disc harrow. We have the Scorpio 560 stone picker, and then we have the POV 5XL Agrimoz plow. We have our Great Plains Solid Stand 1500 seeder, and then we have the Maxima 3-till L planter. We also have a Breedall K105 lime and fertilized spreader. We have our Case IH Axle Flow 7150 harvester. We also have the Terraflex 25-foot grain header and the Nardi N40BX header trailer. We have the LH2. This is going to be for basically processing our forage. So this is going to be our forage harvester. Goes on the front of our tractor. And then we have the Kemper 345 Plus header for that forage harvester. We have the Vendro 820 Highland tedder. We also have the Swadro T970 windrower and the Vermeer TM 1410 mower. We also have the Case IH RB 456 HD Pro round baler. We have the ABI 550 water trailer. We have the RA142 TMR mixer, and then we have the Primor 15070M straw blower. Now, as far as mods and DLCs, this map does have some custom items. We have the Miner 49er bucket, and this is going to be set up to collect some of the mining fill types that we have available on this map. We have the CP690. That's going to be set up to, I believe that's going to be harvest lavender. I'll have to go back and check and see what that icon represents. Then we also have the Module Express 635. That's also set up for lavender. In fact, let's go ahead and check and just verify that that is indeed the crop with that icon. There we go. It is indeed lavender for those custom harvesters. Let's go ahead and take to the skies. That's pretty much the farm tour. There's only one farm pre-placed on this map. It's kind of scattered out, but you can see that located right here. And then just down from the farm, well, we've got this interesting area. We have a workshop dealer trigger. And then we have this building. And this is actually the shop. So we're going to go inside here. We're going to hit the icon. And let's go ahead and pick something up small. We have a custom camera for a shop. Kind of cool. And here you go, where our machinery is going to spawn. Decent sized area for the machinery. And since we don't have any fences or anything, well, we can buy any size machinery that we want in order to basically make use of the land on this map. Now, we have the ability to remove the NPCs. And if you want to do that, just come up here to the sign and hit R. The NPCs will fly away from the PDA. All you need to do at that point is save the game, exit, come back in. The NPCs are gone. You'll never see them again. Unless you come back here, you hit R again, save the game, exit, come back in. The NPCs will come back. So again, one of the interesting and kind of revolutionary aspects of this map, and why I feel it deserves a bit more than a simple 3.5 stars. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more altitude here. Just kind of make a quick look around. We have our fields, we have forested areas, and then we've got some other kind of special things going on. So let's go over here to the west. And that's where we're going to find a pile of stone. We have our forest. Then we have our pile of stone here. And we're going to be able to buy that for $322,000 for Farmland ID 11. We also have Farmland ID 10 for $436,000. And Farmland ID 9, $341,000. Let's also jump here and take a look at our productions, because I kind of skipped over that earlier. As I mentioned, we have lots of custom productions on this map that we can put down, and those include a smeltery. And that's where we're going to be able to make some interesting products. I'm just going to go ahead and put one down here so we can see what we do have the ability to basically make. We have a small version of the smeltery. We also have a stone crusher. We have a small glass forge as well as a big glass forge. We have the cereal factory, the oil mill, preserved foods. We have our bakery. We have our grain mill. And we have our sawmill. So now that we put down our smeltery, let's go back here to our production. And we have a smeltery. It's going to be able to make coiled sheet metal out of iron ore and wood chips. We're going to be able to make iron pipes out of iron ore and wood chips. And we're going to be able to make iron spikes out of iron ore and wood chips. That's going to be important because, well, we have the ability to build houses on this map. And these houses are customized. They're not using the normal kind of build sheet that Giants has set forth with respect to buildable buildings. They have been modified a bit. And the first one we're going to take a look at is right here at Farmland ID 5. Let's go ahead and buy that. And once we buy that, we do have our trigger pop up here. This is going to be a NPC buildable house. There's two different variants of the NPC buildable house. There's the big version and the small version of the house. And we can identify which one we're talking about because the big version has these kind of stone porch pillars, and then the small version does not. So with respect to the big version of the NPC house, which is going to be at Farmland ID 5, we're going to be able to find it at Farmland ID 6, as well as Farmland ID 60 and 62. So I've gone ahead and bought those, but I'm not seeing them pop up here. So just give me a minute to try to figure out where things are. It's buy 6. Okay, I found them. They're down here in the south. We have then also the buildable one at Farmland ID 60 and Farmland ID 62. We have a smaller version of the buildable house, which we'll talk about in a little bit, at Farmland ID 63 and Farmland ID 41. So with respect to the big farmhouse, well, we're going to need to bring 11,500 units of wooden beams, 14,500 units of long planks, 3,500 units of planks, 8,500 units of cement, 4,500 units of prefab walls, 6,500 units of furniture, 1,000 units of iron pipe, 1,000 units of sheet iron, 1,000 units of spikes, and 1,000 units of pane glass. So we have that buildable site there. We're going to come back here into the woods. We've got another buildable site there as well. And then further back into the woods, we're going to find an NPC kind of hanging out here, right kind of at the back corner. That's where we're going to find, well, some more stones. We make our way down the eastern side of the map. We're going to come across the small version of that house. And the small version of the house, well, it's going to require a little bit different products. The smaller version is going to require 6,500 wooden beams, 11,500 long planks, 5,500 planks, 29,500 cement, 16,500 cement blocks, 4,500 units of roof plates, 6,500 units of furniture, 8,500 units of prefab walls, 1,000 units of iron pipes, 1,000 units of sheet iron, 1,000 units of spikes, and 1,000 units of glass panes. We have our glass production here. So we have our dump point, our interactive icon, and our pallet point. Here we have our cement. So we have our interactive icon, our fill point, and our dump points. This is a really cool facility. This is going to be the Lizard Incorporated. We buy almost everything. We've got lots of cool things going on here. We've got a banner, scrolling banner sign. We have a custom NPC.
Hey there, be sure to open the grate cover before trying to unload trailers that require the auger and bin. I am not sweeping up messes anymore. I will stop you from unloading your bulk trailers if it ain't open. To unload wood, pallets, bales, or
Gives us a little bit of information about what's going on here.
Thank you for visiting Lizard Incorporated.
Right, I'll let you experience that on your own. Then we come over here. We need to make sure we open this R in order to sell all of these different products. Grains, root crops, liquids, wood, bales, and various products. We have our wood cell trigger over here. Further down, we have our sawmill. We have our bakery. We have our oil mill. We have our cereal factory. We have our custom animal dealer located right here. We have our flour mill. And what is this? It'll be our preserved foods factory. We got a little mini version of that. Further along the road, we're going to find some NPCs. I'll let you experience them on your own. And then the entire western kind of side of the map is going to be dedicated to pretty big agriculture. We've got some crushable stones right here in the middle of this field. Have a neat thing going on here. And let's make our way down here to Farmland ID 60. Where we have another one of those buildable large NPC houses. And then further up, we've got two plots side by side. One of the larger houses, and then one of the smaller houses. And that's kind of a quick run through of the Homestead Edition of the map. Oh, wait. It's back here. We have our iron back here. That's viable in 3 different chunks. And let's go ahead and talk to
Hey there,
Urkel.
stranger. You ever think about how birds don't have eyebrows? Wild, right?
No.
Well,
Like I
hello
said,
again, friend.
I'll let you kind of explore and chat it up with these custom talkable NPCs. Really cool feature. Now let's go ahead and reboot the map and take a look at it in its wilderness format, or DIY version, if you will. When we load into the DIY version, we start right here kind of looking at this sign. And guess what? It's a collectible, and it says, "Welcome to Wampsville, New York. We hope you enjoy each version of the map." Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. I'll let you read all the rest of that. But at any rate, we have our remove NPC trigger. I'm not going to activate it because I don't want the NPCs to go away. But kind of the maybe elephant in the room here is right behind that, we have the buildable roller coaster. In fact, we have the roller coaster we can build out not only on the wilderness version of the map, but also on the forestry version. And while there isn't a trigger icon, basically this is where you're going to need to deliver the products. And in order to build out the roller coaster, well, you're going to need to bring 30,000 wooden beams, 19,000 planks, 11,000 long planks, 4,000 units of sheet iron, 22,000 spikes, 5,000 prefab walls, and 3,500 glass panes. And that's going to build out the custom roller coaster. Now, let's pull up the PDA, because when I first heard that this was going to be a 3-in-1 map, I thought, cool, we're going to have the same map, and we're going to have 3 different kind of periods. An unsettled version, a version where we have the trees cleared off and ready for us to develop it, and then a developed version. But basically, each was going to build on its own, on each other. And things were going to be kind of in the same general area as far as landmarks, landscapes, and things like that. But that's not how it's turned out. We have 3 distinctive maps because we had iron down here in the extreme southeast corner, but now we have stone. Iron is up here now in the northwest corner, almost as if this map has been rotated. I'm not sure what's going on here, but again, I kind of thought it would be 3 iterations kind of building on each other, but instead it turns out to be just 3 completely different maps, because it's been kind of neat to have the roller coaster in the same spot in every iteration. At least that's what I thought. We have all the same crops we had here on the Homestead map, here on the DIY map. So we have clover, alfalfa, North American tallgrass, rye, triticale, millet, spelt, mustard, lavender, poppy, buckwheat, lentils, and flax. With respect to the farmlands that we own at the start, should we choose to own the starting farm, we will also own farmland ID 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. We have farmland ID 85 down in the southeast, and our starting farmland is going to be farmland ID 53. We also own farmland ID 47, and that's where our museum is going to be located as well. You can see we've got lots of viable plots here, kind of in the DIY town, if you will. And we also have the ability to click and sell our streets, again, if we wanted to do that. We do have our precision farming soil map, but again, we only would be able to see it up here in this little corner, so we're not necessarily going to show you that in this iteration. We have our same FS25 crop counter available to us in this iteration of this particular map. We do not have any animals at the start with the DIY edition. We do have contracts on a couple different farmlands as well. We'll eventually get a contract for that field work. We have 8 productions pre-placed on the DIY version as opposed to the 9 that we had on the Homestead Edition, and that's because we're missing the covered silage production. With respect to sell points, we once again have just 2 sell points on this map now. As far as I could best tell, we start out with a different set of starting machinery as well. We also do not have any hand tools because our storage shed is no longer available to us. And we have, again, the 25 collectibles. Not really sure why it's showing up as 34. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting fleet for the DIY edition of the map. We have the McCormick X8 631 VT drive medium tractor, the John Deere 6R250, and the AGCO 8810. We have our Brantner DD 24073 2XXL trailer. We have the Agromaz Servo the Pottinger Servo T 6000P plow. We have the S Pro 6000 RC seeder. We have our front 3-point hitch forage harvester once again in the LH2, and this time we only have the poplar header. We have our Vermeer TM 1410 mower. We also have the Swatter TS 970 windrower. We have the Anderson RBM 2000 round bale trailer, and we have the John Deere C441R round baler and wrapper combination. Again, with respect to custom vehicles and equipment, we have the Miner 49er bucket. Then we have the 2 cotton harvesters that are also set up for our lavender. Let's get a little bit of altitude. Now for the DIY variant, again, we have our roller coaster here for us to build out if we want to. And you'll see, well, we are completely void of trees. So if we're going to do any sort of planks, we're going to have to plant our own trees in order to do that. We have our pile of iron over here in the, again, northwest corner this time. All the way to the extreme northeast corner of the map, we do have the only field. And this field, lucky you, it's set up in poplar. Coming back here kind of to the town area, we're going to find several productions. We have our smelter. Or this is going to be our... Let me just check. Our stone crusher. And, well, Kenneth is hanging out here. And I think as the description said, Kenneth has...
You wouldn't believe the number of machines they brought
something
in
unique
clear
to
this
say.
land. Whole lot of steel, Whole lot of horsepower.
Anyway, I'll let
need
you
something?
chat it up with him later on your own. We have our glass works, our cereal production, our sawmill for when we do have a forestable trees. If we go inside of here, we have a Bible warehouse. And we probably had that on the Homestead Edition. I just skipped over it. We have our water tower. We have our sell point here at the warehouse. We have our spawn point for purchased goods. We have our oil mill. We have our vehicle dealer. Remember, we go inside there. Then our dealer's going to spawn here. We have our dealer trigger. We have our universal buy mostly everything. This is going to be our starting farm location. And we have our shed with our 2 dealer triggers, our storage wall, and then we have a buildable farmhouse. And this buildable farmhouse is going to be different than the other 2 farmhouses that we've already looked at. This is going to require 5,500 wooden beams, 12,500 long planks, 6,500 planks, 2,900 and 500, 29,500 units of cement, 15,500 cement bricks, 4,500 roof plates, 6,500 furniture, 2,000 iron pipes, 2,000 sheet iron, 1,000 spikes, and 4,000 panes of glass. And we'll move our way down here. We kind of have some trailers just kind of hanging out here. Then we have 2 buildable houses. This is going to be the smaller NPC house that we talked about in the Homestead Edition. If you didn't watch that part of the video, well, this is going to require 6,500 wooden beams, 11,500 long planks, 5,500 planks, 29,500 cement, 60,500 cement bricks, 4,500 units of cement or roof plates, 8,500 units of prefab walls, 6,500 units of furniture, 1,000 units of pipes, 1,000 units of sheet iron, 1,000 units of spikes, and 1,000 units of glass. This is going to be the larger of the 2 buildable NPC sites. And this one, if you didn't watch the other part of the video, is going to require 11,500 wooden beams, 14,500 long planks, 3,500 planks, 8,500 cement, 4,500 prefab walls, 6,500 furniture, 1,000 iron pipes, 1,000 sheet iron, 1,000 spikes, and 1,000 panes of glass. We have our museum for our collectibles, and once we collect those, well, they will pop up and appear here in the museum. We have our animal dealer. And that's going to be our grain mill. And then we have our smeltery. So there we go. I knew the smeltery was here. Then the rest of the map is going to be traditional wilderness map. And down here in the extreme southeast corner, we have our pile of stone. Oh, and guess what? Another collectible. And if you wanted to, you could talk to, well,
I see
Chuck.
you made it. I think you don't even know about the subterranean rack lizards running this whole operation. If them little critters didn't dig in tunnels for
any rate, we'll, oh, Kenneth is way over there. Cool. So like I said, that is going to be our DIY edition of the map. Let's go ahead and once again reboot and take a look at the Forestry Edition. When you load in the forestry version, well, you're going to land here at the sawmill, kind of appropriately. So we have our sawmill, we have our sell point for our wood, we have our interactive trigger, we have our spawn point for our products, and we have our wood chips. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. Let's zoom out once again. And once again, we have a completely different iteration of the PDA. Now we have stone in the north, but it's not the extreme northwest nor the extreme southeast. We also have a bit of iron over here, completely different shape, and it's also going to be in the west, kind of more towards the south. We have our sawmill that we start here, and then we also are going to have, with respect to our starting farmland, we own farmland ID 13 at the start. We also own farmland ID 27 and farmland ID 32 at the start here on the Forestry Edition of this map. You see the rest of the map, for the most part, is going to be untouched wilderness. Lots of trees. We do have lots of NPCs down here, kind of scattered all over the map. And we do have some areas where we can once again build out some houses. If you do clear this land and you want to do a little bit of agriculture, we also have the additional crops that have been added to the other versions of the map available here, as well as all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 25. With respect to our crop counter, once again, we have the standard FS25 crop counter on this edition. We do not have any animals pre-placed. We do have some contracts available. With respect to productions, we have 8 productions pre-placed on the forestry version of this map. We own the sawmill at the start. We also have the bakery, cereal factory, the glass production, grain mill, oil mill, preserved foods, and stone crusher. With respect to sell points, we have 2 sell points on the forestry map. We also have a different set of starting machinery on this version. We have then, once again, our chainsaws in our storage shed available to us. And we, again, have those 25 custom collectibles. Again, not really sure why it's popping up as 34. So here we are at a starting farm. We have this shed. Again, this is where we're going to find our chainsaws. And kind of the cool screens going on. I don't know why this one's not really dancing very quick, but at any rate, we have our different dealer triggers. We have our chainsaws, right? We have spray paint storage, brush storage. We have 2 Meridian sheds here with our forestry focused machinery. A little bit of random stones just kind of hanging out here at the starting farm area. And then another large shed here. And with that, let's take a look at our starting machinery for the Forestry Edition of the map. We start out with Kubota RTV X1140WH side by side. We have the Fendt 513 Vario small tractor. We have the Dutsfar Agrostar 8.31 medium tractor. And we have the New Holland T8435 Genesis large tractor. We have the Kubota SVL 97.2 skid steer. And for the skid steer, we've got a bucket, pallet fork, stump grinder, and a bush and log fork. We have our Brantner DD 240073-2 XXL trailer, as well as a FarmTech EDK 650 trailer. We have our LH2 forage harvester. Then we also have, again, the New Holland 130 FB poplar header. We have the P13 4272 wood transport trailer. We have the Damcon PL75 tree planter. We have the John Deere 843 L2 tree harvester. We're going to have the SF900 stump cutter. We're going to have then a winch. And we're going to have then the PM Track 2 8380 Forestry Edition tractor. We have an 1,800 kilogram front weight. And we have the Thunder Creek Equipment fuel trailer. Once again, with respect to mods and DLCs, we have the Miner 49er bucket, as well as our 2 cotton harvesters, that are set up also with lavender harvesting. Well, let's get a little bit of altitude now and take a look around on our Forestry Edition. We, of course, have trees everywhere. They're just not fully spawning in. We have our starting farm location here. We've got a giant pile of stone. Then we have our museum. Once we do collect collectibles, we'll have them here in the museum. We do have the ability to, once again, buy the streets. If we do click on that here on the PDA. And as we have seen on the other maps, we also have the ability to build out some NPC houses. This is going to be the bigger of the NPC houses. And if for some reason, if you haven't checked the other two versions of this map, well, we're looking at needing 11,500 units of wooden beams, 14,500 units of long planks, 3,500 units of regular planks, 8,500 units of cement, 4,500 units of prefab walls, 6,500 units of furniture, 1,000 units of iron pipe, iron, sheet iron, and spikes, and then 1,000 units of glass panes. We make our way to the west here in the north. We're going to find our way over here to some more stone deposits. And then we have the we buy nearly everything sell point. We make our way down the western side of the map. We're going to come over here to our iron deposits. And we have our NPC just kind of hanging out here in the woods.
Hey there, stranger. You.
Right, I'll
Hello
let
again,
you
friend.
kind of explore chatting it up with him later. We make our way over to one of these little fields that we own. It's once again poplar. We are set up here with our harvester and our forage harvester and such. Now, what I found interesting is we have our tractor, we have our tree planter, and we have pallets of poplar in order to plant more of it. But I don't understand why it's staged here, because poplar regrows. Now, maybe it doesn't regrow because it's been placed here and painted and not actually planted. Maybe that's the fact. But typically, if you plant poplar, it's going to basically be able to be harvested continuously. It'll always regrow. So we won't ever have to plant it again in the same field. We also have on our forestry version of this map our roller coaster. And if you didn't see the DIY version, then you're going to find out that we're going to need to build the roller coaster out with some custom fill types. We're going to need 30,000 wooden beams, 19,000 planks, 11,000 long planks, 4,000 units of sheet iron, 1,200 units of iron pipes, 2,200 units of, or 22,000 spikes, 5,000 prefab walls, and 3,500 units of glass panes. We have our oil mill production there. Around the corner, we're going to have some more kind of random NPCs just kind of hanging out here. A little bit of a trailer park. Another buildable NPC house. This is going to be the smaller NPC house. And this NPC house, well, it's going to require 6,500 wooden beams, 11,500 long planks, 5,500 planks, 29,500 units of cement, 16,500 units of cement bricks, 4,500 roof plates, 6,500 units of furniture, 8,500 prefab walls, 1,000 units of iron pipes, sheet iron, spikes, and glass panes. Right down the road from that, well, we're going to have another farmhouse that we're going to be able to build out. And this is going to be, well, a player farmhouse. And this is going to be 5,500 wooden beams, 12,500 long planks, 6,500 planks, 29,500 cement, 15,500 cement bricks, 4,500 roof plates, 6,500 furniture, 2,000 pipes, sheet iron, 1,000 spikes, and 4,000 glass panes. Nice little pond here as well. This is going to be our stone crusher. Our forestry. And oddly enough, right here in the middle of the map, Farmland ID 18. We've got this barn. And inside the barn, we have a forklift. And this forklift has a pallet of iron pipes. 600 units of iron pipes. Just kind of hanging out here in this barn all by itself. And I interestingly stumbled upon this because I was checking to see what we got as far as machinery on this map if we didn't own the starting farm. And if that is the case, you get that forklift. And that's it. So, kind of an interesting thing that's just kind of way down here all by itself. We don't have a smelter pre-placed on this iteration of the map. So in order to do all of your iron stuff, you'll have to put your own smelter down. But you do start out with those 600 pipes. We have our glass works right here by our starting farm. And that pretty much is going to be the forestry version of this map. And, well, that's finally going to be all 3 iterations of this map. 3 maps in one. Lots of interesting innovations in each particular version of the map. And in my opinion, it merits a score much, much higher than it currently has over on the Mod Hub. Please, by all means, download this map, check it out, and then give it a score that you feel it deserves. I'm not saying it deserves a 5. I'm saying it deserves you to give it a score you feel is appropriate for what I think are some pretty interesting innovations that we've yet to see in the nearly 100 mod maps that have been released for Farming Simulator 25 to date. That's right, we're approaching 100 mod maps released on the Giants Mod Hub to date, and we're less than 1 year in. Till next time, happy farming.